Fantastic. Great. We're live with Ben and Gormly. Welcome, Ben. Welcome. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you for having me. It's a privilege.
Honors all ours. Let's get started straight away and just ask how you got started building guitars and your guitar journey.
Well, I got a mandolin. I'd played guitar for quite some time, past 25 years or so. I bought a mandolin for my wife, and she didn't really like it. So I picked that up, started playing it. The thing intrigued me so much, I started looking into how it was made, and I eventually found some videos. There aren't very many as far as that goes, as far as the mandolin goes, but I eventually found some, and I bought a Roger Siminoff How to Build a Mandolin book and a bunch of wood, a bunch of cheap tools, and on my kitchen table in a townhouse apartment, I built my first mandolin back in 2014. So, and then from there, it was the information was easier to find on guitars, and I really wanted to get into that. And I've been introduced to StewMac probably 26 years ago. Someone handed me a catalog one day, but it never really clicked as to what it was for until I started actually getting into the guitar building aspect of it. I wanted to build a bluegrass guitar. I did. I wasn't really impressed with the sound, and I just really liked the fingerstyle version more. So I started reading up on different things on responsiveness and things like that, and followed some classical guitar building, and eventually I bought the Samoji books, and those are really well, that's a good base of knowledge for me. But yeah, that's where it started, where it's rolled to, I guess.
Fantastic. And maybe, you mentioned Irvin's book, and I'm just wondering, what's your current sort of build philosophy, sort of building style?
Oh, right now it's mostly just try not to mess up, but I really like the idea of responsiveness over anything else. Something that has plenty of headroom, and then having that good deep bass, but still the crisp clears and the mids and trebles, and a good attenuative, I guess, guitar sound for me. So just really that, and then the majority of or not the majority of it, but so far the majority of people that have played the instruments that I've made have said they're more comfortable than the majority of what they've played before. I spend a lot of time getting the neck to feel. I don't really have templates I go off of. I usually just do it by feel, which is risky, but it's worked, and I try to make it as ergonomic as possible. So really easy on the hands, and try for a finger style throw together, just because it's super comfortable. But yeah.
Cool. You mentioned responsiveness and headroom, and I'm wondering whether if you felt those two would be mutually exclusive, or in some respects.
I would think they do seem to go hand in hand from what I've seen, but to an extent, because if you've got something that's super responsive, you might not have a softer sound or the ability to go softer. You're going to be able to do it easier if you don't have that, but I think they do go hand in hand pretty well.
Cool.
But,
and right. So, are you doing any quantitative testing on the bracing or the instruments, or you?
I'm getting into the measurements for deflection. Haven't built a jig for it yet, but I'm mostly just going by feel at first and seeing what I've got. I haven't been able to afford really the the big steps into investing a whole lot of money on really good like wood. I just find what I can, as opposed to spending $300 on a set of wood that's been tested and everything, which I will eventually get to, but you know, for now, baby steps. But the deflection thing, it was covered in one of the books that I had read by Roger Simonoff, and it was touched on by Samaji as well. And it just makes more sense to me to go off of numbers than just a sound per se, because it's going to tell you whether or not that's going to hold up or how it's going to hold up eventually. So.
Cool. And I suppose we've all seen the photos on Instagram with all the interrupted rosettes and interrupted back strips, and just, you know, I'm just wondering how, do you know how difficult those are compared to like a standard kind of rosette?
Well, your standard is just going to be if you've got the proper tools for it, it's pretty straightforward. And I've done the standard, and I like doing them. I enjoy a simple aesthetic personally, but there's something that just pulled me into an art style like that. Taylor Robbins just insanely good at that kind of thing, and it was a huge inspiration there. Same with Michael Vashkins. Big name, big development in that aspect. But that interrupted design, it's been a bit of a trial for me, just because I have to wrap my head around an asymmetrical look, for one, but for two, it's getting the pieces to fit exactly where they're meant to fit. It's got to be drawn out in the process. Yeah, it does take a bit longer, but I feel like in the end it's worth it. But,
cool. Do you feel that, I suppose, that it took much longer, especially with all the perforating that goes around the kind of interruptions?
The first one did. After that, after that, it just becomes okay. Well, I know I need to go through these steps, and once it's mapped out, once you just follow the steps and repeat, rinse and repeat. The planning aspect, yeah, it takes a bit longer, and then the layout, you've got to draw it all out in advance and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's not as simple as something, say, just stick the rose hole cutter on there, go around a couple times with the router, and then shove something in. That's probably a much effective way to build it, but you know, I guess I like to make things more difficult for myself. So
I can understand that. So I guess in terms of instruments, you know, how many guitars are you at now?
Okay, so I'm currently building my 7th acoustic guitar, and as far as the ukuleles go, I've completed 3. I've got 2 that are they weren't ordered by anyone. It was just to build. They kind of got shoved aside for later date finish, but yeah. So not very many in the long run of things, but you know, it's a learning procedure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I was just speaking with somebody about some of these interviews, because I'm like super keen to interview like a range of people, like a cross section, and obviously as many people as we can speak to, because I think everybody has great story to tell, as well as essentially things to share that at different stages of their journey. So perhaps, you know, Irvin might talk about different things compared to, let's say, yourself, Ben. And so, you know, I guess at this stage, when you're sort of coming up to double digits in terms of the builds, I suppose one of the questions that I hope, you know, I can ask candidly is, you know, what are some of the challenges that you're facing at the moment?
Oh, it's tough. So learning how to repair a mistake was a big one. and it's slowly going down. But instead of just saying screw it, never mind, trash the whole thing, you know, just sitting back and taking a step and saying, okay, well, if I do this, I can fix it. That's been something that's followed me through multiple jobs, I guess, you know, is just fixing your mistake. So it was natural for me to just try to repair them right off the bat. But different things require a different skill set, you know, and a lot of the skill set requirements I'm still coming across and learning. So I guess as far as any kind of major issue I've come across, at this point, I think my biggest challenge is going to be the things I can't control. Say environment control in my shop. I don't have it set to where it's like got a consistent humidity or anything like that, and I'm looking toward building to that. But I would think that would probably be the next step as far as that goes. That and the acquiring of tools. And say if this was to go to a business, say tomorrow, I wouldn't be able to take on the clientele that I would want to, because I don't have the amount of control and the amount of tools necessary to make it as far as that goes. But so different challenges.
Yeah, I can understand that. But I mean, some of the very traditional workshops, at least in the past, they used to build at seasons, didn't they? Because, because different, you know, with the humidity, is like in summer they wouldn't do a lot of gluing and bracing up. They do that all in spring maybe, and then save all the milling for summertime maybe.
Right. Or wherever you can get it. I'm fortunate enough to live in a place where where at least in the past it wasn't too bad, the jumps in humidity and temperature and things. It was a pretty steady range. The humidity this last year has been, it seems out of place, but we have had a few spikes and things, but it's been a little bit detrimental to some of the woods. For example, the zircote that I'm building on right now, well, I mean, all you have to do is say the name of that wood and you know it's trouble. But it buckled on me after a cold spurt. We had a night out of nowhere, it dropped down to like 30 degrees, which around here is unheard of. But it knocked loose a brace and had to go back and fix a crack and this, that, and the other thing. But so big challenges there. But normally we stay pretty even and consistent across the board. So there's that at least. But
Right. And I still remember somebody telling me, you know, basically when they go full time and they start building quite a few instruments, suddenly half your time is spent on logistics, like, oh, my case is going to get there. Where my tune is, like some of the things that you don't necessarily always have a big stock of, right. And you're waiting on those. Has that happened to you, or is that?
I tend to try to get all that stuff before I even start a build. I always forget at least one, but I try to get all the pieces that I need to complete the build before I even start. That way I have them there, as opposed to stocking them. You know, eventually one day maybe I'll have a stock or back stock of things, but for now it's just okay. Well, I know I'm going to need this, so I'm going to order up on this. You know, a couple truss rods here and there, a couple cases here and there. You know, but yeah, I could totally see running into that problem.
Yeah, I still remember one time something was finishing up and I pulled out the little drawer for the bridge pins, reached in and went, oh, there's only two in here. It doesn't feel like there's very many. Oh, wait a minute. There's like two is rummaged around. There's three and it's useless. Like, no.
And that one's a 3 degree. The other one's a 5. Dang it.
Yeah. One's slotted and one's unslotted, right? Like, yeah, definitely. And so I mean, I guess at this stage, sort of, what woods do you prefer, and what woods do would you like to use?
I honestly haven't found a preference on wood. As far as back and sides go, I enjoy the aesthetics of the darker woods. I've had good luck with maple and things, but so as far as that one goes, my opinion's still out. We'll see what the Surcote is. I haven't had my hands on a whole lot. I do have quite a bit of a stock of Indian rosewood at the moment, but you know, which it's a pretty time-tested wood there. So there's that. As far as top woods go, it's really tough to say what a preference is because there's just so much variety to each individual piece. I love cedar. The Western red cedar has been a joy to work with. Redwood comes close to that one. The spruces and things, Engelmann's great for a nice soft tone or whatever, what have you. But then again, I've also introduced myself into a new style of building, so I couldn't really say exactly how it would come out there. Maybe it all comes out to sound the same. I'm not sure, but I do love from other people's builds. I love the sound of a cedar rosewood guitar.
Right, cedar rosewood. Yeah, good, nice, nice combination there. And I do think in many ways that that Indian rosewood is sometimes given the short shift, and I kind of feel also that, you know, because I played really nice Indian rosewood guitars, like superb. But I do also find that it does vary quite a bit.
Right. You've got the
pithy, those really pithy sets that it's got all the tonal potential, you know, of a block of concrete.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Why is it here?
Wrong density or something.
Yeah. And I think it's tough also because in the past, it used to be much, in my experience anyway, it used to be much easier to go out and hand select your own woods. But now it's tough. And I know some people will say, well, but stuff is more available. It is true, stuff is definitely more available, but it's more available only in certain places. So it's not like you can go down to your local wood store and still find really nice, really nice stuff anymore. I've been seeing that increasingly, that all the stuff is more accessible because it's kind of all kind of concentrated in a couple places. Would you do you find that as well, or?
Yeah, actually, depending on where you are in the world or in the States or whatever, what have you, it's going to be more difficult to find certain things. Like where I'm at, there's one lumber yard in a good 200-mile radius that carried any kind of exotics. But I've got 3 old growth redwood lumber yards just up the road, you know, so I could find that fairly simply. But any kind of protected, like any kind of wood that's suitable for the back and side sets of a guitar or anything like that, I'm going to have to either mail order or go a long ways to find it. But that said, I have gotten some really nice coca-cola from that lumber yard down the road, but or it used to be down the road. I've moved since then, but yeah.
Sure, I understand. So, well, great. Well, maybe I think now's the time to just sort of wrap up and just ask you, you know, what's next on the horizon for you?
Next, just keep on going. I've got an ukulele that I've just started that someone has ordered since building the one for Timmy Cruz, which I was fortunate enough to land that one. I've gotten a few people looking at that. I'd like to start a new, after that one I haven't got anything booked, but I'd like to start, I've got a design on a modified dreadnought that I'd like to open up and try to get a couple of those built, just for something to have on the side as well. But just build it as I can and continue on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. I mean, hopefully we can get some time to arrange like a workshop tour and sort of have a tour of your instruments, and let's try to set that up soon.
Yeah, for sure. I'll see if I can get some kind of an antenna to get my Wi-Fi to work a little better out there. But yeah, that's the issue there. But yeah, for sure. Love to hear back from you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you.